I think she's an asset to any company because she is not now. Who knows if AEW could even take advantage of this, right? But she is not pro wrestling in the way that people think of pro wrestling. She is pro wrestling in the way of how maybe people used to think about pro wrestling, which is
Right.
real fighter, someone who knows how to defend themselves, how to protect themselves, like that kind of mentality. We don't have that in AEW that much. But who are some of the who are two current stars right now who have that aura to them? Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. Now, it's not only that aura. There's also the way that they dress and the way that they present themselves. But push comes to shove, that is also who they are. Those are real dudes. So
Marina's another one too.
Marina, except people don't know that because they don't talk about it.
Well, Mox has brought it up.
So yeah, but her character currently is like the silent assassin. Like that's who she is. She's not like a former judoku who who was really good in that realm and then tried to go into MMA and just didn't have a great chin, and so that didn't work out for her. But the reason why I think your premise, which is it's not really about Shayna, it's about what Shayna could bring in, because you already have Marina, they're friends, and then out there somewhere is the specter of Ronda Rousey. And Ronda Rousey, there's going to be a lot of the AEW fan base who just disagrees with the idea of bringing Ronda in because they think that she's, not agreeable, or she holds herself on a pedestal, or maybe some idiot comment she made, from years ago, whatever that thing is. If you bring in Ronda Rousey, think of the PR that comes with that. Think of the communication that comes with that. There's going to be folks who loved her in WWE who's like, oh, Ronda's there. I need to sort of see what they're doing with her. So the specter of Ronda Rousey is all that I need for Shayna. Now, we don't know. Ronda recently had another kid. She's very, I'm sure she's fine. She doesn't need the money. Her and her husband seem to be doing very well. They seem to be living their best life. Would she come back for a full-time run? Probably not, but that's probably also the best way to utilize her, is not on a full-time run. You bring her in for a big show. She's there when you need her. She's the face. She does a podcast with Renee, and it kind of explains some scenarios. Like, there is superstardom in Ronda Rousey that WWE did not take advantage of the last time she was there, but also that, Tony Khan was able to work CM Punk magic. Now it's a different kind of magic with Ronda Rousey. We've seen Ronda in the last 2 or 3 years, but big star. How do you utilize her? I could think of like 20 ideas right now if Ronda Rousey came to AEW about how to introduce her, what to do with her. Think of like Jon Moxley's current Death Riders. Like, if you asked Jon Moxley a year ago when they came up with this idea, who would be the perfect badass assassin? He would say, oh, it would be Ronda. If we could get Ronda, she would be the right person to be right beside me. It's almost like Marina is a stand-in, in a sense, for Ronda. Because if Ronda was there, Mox wouldn't have to say any of those things that he says about Marina, because the people would know.
Right.
Now,
yeah.
I know this is about Shayna, and I'll get back to Shayna. You could do this would be kind of fun. Who's the third woman? You have Marina, you bring in Shayna, everybody knows the third woman is Ronda, and you start teasing it, knowing that she's with you. You couldn't tease it if she wasn't involved. And they just set up this whole thing about when is she going to be here? What AEW used to be really good at, right? When they would bring in people. And this is another layup for me. So Shayna could work with, they had Layla Hirsch doing somewhat of a similar style, but now you have the real thing. Now you have Shayna Baszler, who's the real thing. So I'm 100% with you. I can only imagine, knowing how Jon Moxley's brain works, this is his dream scenario. for whatever, the Death Riders could have been. And maybe when the Death Riders finally dies, maybe this is the way to get them kind of back, is to bring in the three women on the side. So I just think there's so many cool ideas.
You could also, I was gonna say, you could also throw a curveball and like bring in Shayna, and everyone thinks, oh yeah, she's gonna go in the Death Riders, and then put her in the Hurt Business. Mm-hmm. And then you could have Marina and Shayna working against each other.
And maybe the Hurt Business is the right spot for them. And maybe it's not the Death Rider. Whatever it is, there's opportunities.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of stuff you could do.
I would challenge the current AEW fan base to think a little bigger when it comes to Shayna and Ronda, because they would look at them and go, oh, failed WWE, we don't want to have anything to do with failed WWE. But no, what you look at is you go, okay, why did they fail? Is there meat on the bone? I would say yes. And would she bring attention? Would some of her former UFC fan base, who has never thought 1 second about AEW, crossover and give AEW a chance? That's the way you have to think when it comes to building new fans.
Yeah. I mean, Shayna Baszler is honestly like probably better known than 80% of the people on the AEW roster, because of the time in WWE, because of the time in MMA. She's also very active on social media, hashtag Queen's Army. And, like that's something that she was heavily involved with before WWE. And even when she was in NXT, not so much now on the main roster, but, like she had that whole thing going. And I imagine she'll bring it back again, no matter what she does, whether she's in AEW or, even does the indies or anything. Like I know, she's done Bloodsport, and I could see her working the indie schedule, maybe going to, I'm sure she would love to do Stardom, so, like there's a lot of stuff she could do.
And she's a super nice human being.
Yes. Well. Oh yeah. 100%.